Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Let's talk about Star Wars Rebels coming to Star Wars Shatterpoint. This is big news that came out of last year's Adepticon. A lot of us were expecting more information related to the Ghost Crew at the most recent mini stravaganza. We got a little bit, but not enough. So I wanted to take today to kind of scoop together all of the screenshots and images and what we do know, what we don't know, and what we can sort of piece between all of this in today's video. What's going on, everybody? If you guys like Star Wars, you guys like tabletop gaming and general geeky, nerdy stuff, you're in the right place. Love to have you stick around. Click that subscribe button. We are doing a big giveaway right now that's running through Halloween for a $100 Amazon gift card that you can put towards a gaming or geeky expansion of your choice. All you have to do to enter to win that is to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. I'll be announcing that winner just after Halloween, so you have time to enter to win that. I usually announce winners towards the end of my videos. While you're at it, if you want to click that subscribe, like, all that other good stuff, if you like this video, hopefully you'll do that. I also have links for social media and Discord if you want to keep the discussion going in the video description below. So let's rewind to last April. We had Adepticon in Chicago. This was a big deal. You've got all of the Ghost Crew announced for Star Wars Shatterpoint as it was being demoed. It was getting ready to come out soon, and I think this was a big way to get a lot of people on board with Star Wars Shatterpoint as a game. Sometimes it takes that one expansion that is a fan favorite expansion to really get people on board. And this was a big one for that. Star Wars Legion is definitely a game that has been asking for all of these characters to come out. So far, we really just have Sabine from here. We do also have Ahsoka, like Fulcrum Ahsoka, and then Agent Kallus also exists in Star Wars Legion. But it's just a few drops of characters, not the whole gang, right? And that's something that Shatterpoint kind of works at a little bit better as opposed to Legion. In getting like a whole group of characters together. So this was the perfect game to be able to do the Ghost Crew as a whole. Now this was just a small little teaser that was dropped at the tail end of the Adepticon presentation, back in the spring. And this was not given a whole lot of information beyond just this screenshot. It was not clear if this is going to be a single expansion or if this is going to be 2 expansions of 3 each. Based on some of the expansion material, I think it could go either way. We do have an expansion coming out fairly soon with Plo Koon and Ahsoka, and that is going to have 5 models in it, so it's not completely out of the question for a box to have 6 models in it. So it could be the case, but then again, we also have the Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan You Cannot Run pack that has only 2 models in it, although it does also have a terrain piece. So, it could be anything, but the way that they're showing them here, it looks to me like it's going to be a single box that has the entire crew, and I really hope that's the case. I think that's the best way to go, and I want it now. I definitely want it now. So this had a lot of folks kind of on board for Shatterpoint. Again, at the time of Adepticon, a lot of people were thinking that it was just going to be Clone Wars era stuff. And they started to introduce a lot of previews of stuff beyond Clone Wars, Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, Stormtroopers, that sort of thing. Also, the Ghost Crew. So very, very fun time to be interested in gaming to see this come out. Now, we're going to fast forward at this point to a mini stravaganza where they give us a little bit. Now, I thought we were going to get to see the painted models and maybe unit previews, maybe box art for this expansion. We didn't get that, but we did get their activation cards, and we're able to see that they kind of changed them up to be wanted posters, which is very cool. I think this is a lovely way to do it. It's very thematic, it's very fun, and it shows that they can do very different things with the art style. I mean, it's still in that Star Wars Shatterpoint art style, but it shows that they're able to have fun and kind of change things up a little bit. I think this is a great way to go. This also kind of leads me to think that it's going to be a 6-character box because of the fact that this is twice now that we've kind of gotten little hints of the Ghost Crew coming. where all 6 are together. They're not showing them like 3 and 3. Also, if we go back, they're in different orders, right? So you've got Chopper, then Zeb, then Hera, then Kanan, then Ezra, and Sabine. If we go forth, we've got, Sabine over here. Zeb is all the way on this side, as opposed to, so like it's not like they're grouped in a certain, like, these 3 will come together and then these 3 will come together. The grouping seems to indicate that that maybe they're all together. I'm getting the idea and the vibes that it's not a 3 and 3, because I feel like we'd see more separation between the groups of 3. So I like the idea of these wanted posters, but of course we were also given one more big spoiler after these. But before I get into that, I do want to thank today's sponsor, Luxury Playstyle. If you guys haven't checked out these amazing tokens, head over to luxuryplaystyle.com and take a look at their tokens. They have lots of awesome gaming tokens. They have damage tokens that work great in Shatterpoint. They also have a whole line of tokens compatible with Star Wars Legion, a whole line compatible with Star Wars X-Wing, with Magic the Gathering, Arkham Horror, lots of different games, Keyforge, tons of awesome tokens, and you can use code Crabbok VIP while you're there to save 15% off of your order. Orders that use that code, that spend $35 or more, are going to get a free Crabbok token. It's got the C logo on it. It's got lightsaber nunchucks. You're going to love this token. It's a fantastic token. You'll get that while supplies last. So head over to luxuryplaystyle.com and check them out. After our preview of these new order cards, we were kind of, the whole Shatterpoint roadmap ended with the following image, and they didn't say anything else about it. Didn't say anything else about it at all, which is just so funny to me. It's almost like they didn't acknowledge that they gave us this screenshot. And not that it was an accident, but it's almost like they weren't allowed to talk about it. So of course it's the elephant in the room. Grand Admiral Thrawn is coming to Star Wars Shatterpoint. And that one is interesting to me. It's super exciting to me. Thrawn is my favorite Star Wars character. I absolutely love him. I love the books. I loved the original Heir to the Empire trilogy. But even more than that, I really loved the way Timothy Zahn has been writing him in the more recent books. Whether it was the first Thrawn trilogy of the new canon that dealt with different looks at the character from his time before, during, and after, before and during up to his Star Wars Rebels appearance, as well as the prequel trilogy, which is a fantastic look at Thrawn back in the Chiss Ascendancy. That it's just, the expansionary defense fleet, and he was just incredible, and it really gives you a whole different look at his character. The dude is not an evil guy. He is brilliant and maybe a little tenacious to try to get certain things done. Accomplish the greater good at any cost is sort of is sort of Thrawn's or at least one of his big character kind of aspects, I would say. And he's magnificent. And so I love the books for Thrawn. And then going back after reading all those books and then going back to Star Wars Rebels, it was this big deal of geez, they made him more of a villain in Star Wars Rebels. And I was in it, so I was really looking forward to seeing Thrawn in Ahsoka. We didn't get as much Thrawn as I would like, and I really hope that as Thrawn continues to show up in canon, or on screen, I should say, outside of the books, when it's not the Timothy Zahn writing him, I hope they don't kind of dismiss the Timothy Zahn stuff and make him, make him just an evil, super smart, super evil villain. And I don't want mustache twirling evil Thrawn. I want brilliant, greater good Thrawn. And his weakness is really his lack of social graces, and maybe the inability to say, hey, Hera and Ahsoka, and look, there's a reason I'm doing all this stuff. I don't actually want to kill you. I will if I have to, because X, Y, Z, and here's my reasoning. And they're like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Well, then, something like that. That's kind of what I'm hoping they end up doing with them. So anyway, I'm really excited about Thrawn, and it makes me think, wait a second, let's go back. Because if we're getting the Ghost Crew all as one pack, what's Thrawn going to look like? Because he's obviously not going to be by himself. There's a lot of different things they could do with Thrawn. but it has me wondering, what are we likely to see? So let's talk about that at this point in the video. And I want to hear what you guys think. And if you want, pause the video right now and let me know down in the comments what you think Thrawn will be packaged with. And then I'll tell you what I think. And then we can kind of compare notes. And then you can let me know if you got it right or wrong. So go ahead and pause it now. Let me know what you would imagine a Thrawn expansion to have. In 3, 2, 1. Okay, so hopefully you've paused and now you're ready to see if you guessed right or if my guess is synchronized with yours. So I think Thrawn will probably be a primary. I think he's definitely going to come with... I think he's going to be based off of his appearance in Star Wars Rebels. So I do expect him to come with the sentry droids. Now, we saw these sentry droids in a couple of things. They were definitely seen in Star Wars Rebels, and there was definitely this infamous scene where they were reprogrammed and like 2 of them like turned on him. So I think Thrawn comes with, if he's following the formula where he's got a primary, a secondary, and then a support. I think his support is going to be these sentry droids. I think there'll be 2 of them. And they'll have some kind of strength and weakness. They'll be like potentially really strong, but maybe really slow, or they don't, or they're kind of dumb, or they don't have that much hit points or something like that. That's kind of my thought for the sentry droids. Droids tend to be pretty strong, and maybe there'll be droids that don't synergize as well with separatists, or maybe you could. I mean, maybe they do synergize well. So maybe you want like half Thrawn, half separatists for your whole strike team or something like that. But I feel like this would be a likely sort of like henchman or the nameless to go along with Thrawn. It was either this or Dark Troopers, and I think they'll save Dark Troopers for like Krennic or somebody, or for some kind of Rogue One pack, because we did get hints that Rogue One stuff will be coming, and so I expect that to be announced at Adepticon. But so this is my guess. For his secondary, for his support. For his secondary, I'm guessing it's going to be Rook. Rook works on multiple levels. For one, definitely works from Star Wars Rebels and his appearance in Star Wars Rebels. Also works for the Heir to the Empire trilogy, because Rook was his assassin in that as well. So this was a nice kind of opportunity for them to bring something from the books into canon and into Star Wars Rebels. I think it fits both bills. And if your secondary is ranged, this offers you a pretty cool melee character that would offer a strength that neither Thrawn nor the droids will have, and that he is the assassin going in there trying to get up close, probably has a lot of movement ability, and maybe not ranged, but maybe only melee. Whereas the droids will probably be more so ranged, but they'll have some melee too. And Thrawn will probably not excel in combat on either version, but actually excel on some, either leadership and moving people around and giving you more battlefield control, or also having something weird that he does that's unique to him to represent his strategy. So I think he would round out this expansion really well. So that's my prediction, is that we'll get a Star Wars Rebels type of Thrawn, with the sentry droids and Rook. That's my guess. We'll see if I got it right. I want to know if you got it right. Now you can pause the video, because I'm also going to talk about some other things that they could do, but this is my guess. So let me know. Pause the video now. Let me know if you got it right and where we differed. Okay. Now I'm going to move on and talk about some other things that are also possible if they don't want to go this particular route. I think this is a great opportunity to bring in Agent Kallus. He's certainly important for the Star Wars Rebels characters. It would also allow you to take really good advantage of that whole Star Wars Shatterpoint concept of mixing and matching and trying to come up with your own flavor of cookie. Well, I'm going to do some peanut butter chips, chocolate chips, and some walnuts, and some M&Ms, and like create your dream squad. Kallus and Zeb would work great together, or they should work great together. They certainly work, well together in theme. And Kallus is also perfect for Shatterpoint, because Shatterpoint doesn't really care where your true allegiances lie. They only care where your allegiances lie for this particular battle. And since Kallus is somebody who went through a really interesting arc, and you saw him work both, be somebody both an Imperial and a Rebel, it worked perfectly in Shatterpoint. So this is a great opportunity to bring him in. He had a lot of screen time with Thrawn, and so this definitely also works. Another option would be Orinda Price, Governor Price. Had a ton of screen time with Thrawn. Might not be the most combat-oriented character, and but I could also see her being a primary in her own pack if she didn't want to come with Thrawn. But I don't think she has enough draw on her own to warrant her having her own expansion. I don't think she's a big enough name. And so if she were ever going to come out, I think she would come out with Thrawn. I don't think she's a big enough deal to come out on her own. So if they were ever going to do her, I think this would be the time to do her. Now, granted, we might see a Thrawn pack that has more than just the standard stuff. So it could be Thrawn with Rook and the Sentry Droids, or Thrawn with Price and the Sentry Droids, or Thrawn with Price and Rook and the Sentry Droids. Like, that's a possibility if they're going to do 2 secondaries. Something like that could potentially happen. I could see that. Whereas Kallus, I could see him coming out on his own. Or he could be, he could come out like in an ISB kind of expansion. He could come out with Wolf Yularen and then ISB agents or something like that. And like that would have enough draw on its own, especially if they gave you 2 different versions of Kallus. If you could do like Mutton Chops Kallus and then, something like that. So I think a lot of people would like that. I would. I think that'd be pretty cool. And I've got one final guess for you. And it's the dream guess. It's the thing that I really want to have happen that I know they're not going to do, but I really want them to do. And maybe this will happen someday. But this would be to have Admiral Arelani and Eli Vanto. For you book readers out there, you know who these characters are. If you're not familiar, I'll break them down real quick. In the Thrawn book, the first one by Timothy Zahn, he meets Eli Vanto as he's going through Imperial School and getting, when he's, early on and he's going through his training and all of this stuff. And the book becomes sort of a Sherlock Holmes book where Thrawn is Sherlock Holmes and Eli Vanto is his Watson. It's his person who's down to earth, street smart, and while he doesn't have Thrawn's brilliance, he's still quite capable and also intelligent, but he's also got the street smarts and the common sense and the social graces enough to help make up for Thrawn's deficiencies. He's written extremely well, and he's a very likable character, such that Thrawn decides to eventually send him on to the Chiss people so he can learn about them and help with what the Chiss have going on, which is some more story that still needs to be resolved. Fast forward to the second book, the third book in that franchise, where you're introduced for the first time to Admiral Arelani, who is a contemporary of Grand Admiral Thrawn from the Chiss Expansionary Defense Fleet, who is sometimes pushes back against Thrawn, maybe not quite his equal, but very close, and has certain strengths, whereas Thrawn has some lackings in that she is a little bit more adept at politics and the social graces that Thrawn isn't, but also quite tactically brilliant and very formidable, very enjoyable character. And she's a good friend to Thrawn, even though they have their ups and downs. And you get to experience that friendship in that mutual respect through, and maybe even a potential hint of romance, but I don't think that that's really happening. But I think there's the potential for it if they were to expand these stories. If you go back and read the Thrawn prequel trilogy that deals with him coming up through the ranks and these two becoming friends, as well as a ton of other really good Chiss characters. Anyway, these are characters that I really love to see in Shatterpoint if they start doing more book stuff, but I don't think they have the wide enough appeal to do it. But if they were to put these out with Thrawn, that'd be really cool. Maybe we'll get a Chiss Ascendancy version of Thrawn at some point, where it's kind of like a prequel one. If you could go back to like a Clone Wars time or even prior, I think all of that kind of stuff could work. Again, I don't know, but there's different timelines in this game, so anything really goes. So really, the Rebels, the Ghost Crew is going to be awesome, but I think a lot of folks are. You're definitely excited about this, but a lot of folks stood up and took notice when they announced this. Now, I have one parting question for you guys. For those of you who play multiple games, how do you feel about Thrawn showing up in Shatterpoint? Do you think that this is too small of a skirmish for Thrawn's large-scale, grand tactical brilliance? I feel like he belongs in Legion. a little bit more so than he belongs here. Hopefully, this is just a preview of things to come. A lot of the stuff that has been announced for either Shatterpoint or Legion does eventually show up in the other game. We're seeing that with things like the Bad Batch and Inquisitors showing up in both games. I think this is hopefully a sign that we'll also see Thrawn in Legion, where I think he could really shine with his tactical brilliance and strategy that are going to play a major part in that game as well. And of course, we already do have him in Star Wars Armada. Do you think we'll see Thrawn ever in X-Wing? I'm really curious about a lot of these things. Love to also see a second edition of Star Wars Rebellion. You board game folks know what I'm talking about. Thrawn would be perfect in that game, and sadly, he is not in that game. That is the game that was made for him, though. Maybe he would be too good at a game like Star Wars Rebellion. I want to know some of your thoughts. Where do you want to see Thrawn? What kinds of Thrawn do you want to see? Let me know some of your Star Wars Rebels or Star Wars Ghost Crew or Grand Admiral Thrawn related comments and questions down in the comments section below. I will talk to you guys later. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are out of this world and help make this channel possible. Thank you so much for your continued support. I will talk to you later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other and party on, dudes. Always wash your socks and woohoo!